Thank you for joining today, guys. Today we are going to be setting up a Halo 2 Project Cartographer dedicated server. Now first you need to download the dedicated server pack in the description to really anywhere. Once it's extracted, you will need to download the Cartographer setup files. Preferably extract the Halo 2 dedicated server files to the root of your C drive. Now while that's copying, select the Cartographer manual update and extract all and browse to where you just extracted the Project Cartographer setup files. Now, one thing you need to do, now run the DX web setup and let it finish. The DX web setup is located in the dedicated server pack folder. Now, while that installs, the version of the Halo 2 dedicated server that we were doing, the Project Cartographer dedicated server, is not the version as a Windows service. This is just the command prompt, similar to how Halo Combat Evolved server works. You are required to create a Project Cartographer account in-game to use the server, but that will not be covered during the duration of this guide. One thing to keep in mind is that your ports on your router page have to be set correctly. I will be showing how to do the ports in the Windows firewall, but not the router page. Contact your ISP to figure out how to set the ports on your router. If you have a double NAT, which means you have a receiver and a router, if you have a wireless NAT connection, then you will have to contact your ISP to get them to open ports for you. Now, once you have installed the DX web setup, take the folder called Halo 2 Dedicated Server and move it to your local disk C. You can now delete the dedicated server pack folder. Now open the Halo 2 Dedicated Server folder. Open h2serverconfig1.ini. Scroll all the way to the bottom. This is where you set your server info. Like you need to set base port of 12,000. The server playlist, I will show what you have to do there. You had to set, now the server playlist, you have to set it to the playlist, like the game types and stuff that your server will run on. You need to set H2 portable to 1 for this to work. And on the login identifier and password, that is where you enter the login account name and the login password for the account you created in-game. We will go back to that later. Now go to your Windows firewall. With click on Advanced Settings. Click on Inbound Rules. New rule. Select Program. Select Browse. Go to where the server is installed, root of C drive, Halo 2 dedicated server, and then click H2 server or the application. Hit Next. Hit Allow the connection. what does this rule apply? Select all, click next. Name it H2 server. Open the firewall again. Go to outbound rules, new rule, program, browse, H2 server, next, allow the connection, select all three for domain, private, and public on what does this rule apply, name it H2 server. Now back to the H2 server config. For this tutorial, I'm just going to put something blank in the fields. This is where you would place your login name and your password for the in-game Cartographer account. Oh, and for the server playlist, open the server folder. Not that. Navigate to playlists and select one of the predetermined playlists like zombies. Click up here where it shows the bar up here where it shows H2 dedicated server playlist. Hit copy. Paste this into the playlist area in the INI and put backslash zombies. Save. One last thing that the H2 dedicated server requires is a file that is not included with the dedicated server pack. It is called xlive.dil. It will be located in the description, the link to it. Drag the xlive.dil after you have downloaded it to the H2 server folder and replace the current version. One of the last few things you need to do, create a new text document, name it H2 server, open it, edit, type start H2 server -live live auto sign in A, type, enter, type enter. What this does is keeping you from having to type the manual sign in. Like it would say live auto sign in A and you'd have to type that manually and just hit enter. The reason it does this is because back when this was ran with Windows Live, which was kind of like a copy of Xbox Live for Windows, you would have to have a Windows Live account and you would enter that in the server prompt. Oh, and save it, open file, click save as, click all files where it's save as type, and then save as a .bat. Find the H2 server.bat and open it. The server is now running. It is now running zombies. Now, since the live auto sign in A trick didn't work with the batch file, you may just have to type it in. You just type live auto sign in A and then hit enter key and hit the enter key twice to make the server work. The text font version of this guide will be available in the description along with all the links to the files and a link to the xlive.dil. Thank you for joining today on how to start a H2 dedicated server for Project Cartographer.